Um, so we have to unblock some mindsets. I've been practicing for about 10, 11 years now, and the guild has really helped me. Even before then, I've joined another group called Entree Leadership, and that was with business owners across the country, all different types of industries. So I've really jam-packed a lot in this. Raise your hand if you became a law firm owner and thought you were going to get freedom from it. Yeah, I thought I was going to get that. So I'm still in pursuit of freedom. And what I mean by freedom is so that you don't have to go on vacation or a conference like this and look at your emails, pull out your laptops. I'm guilty of it already. So the first thing I want to share with you is a secret, okay? It's my secret weapon that is the theme to this presentation. And that is 2 words: customer service, okay? Bill talked about, managing client expectations, so that's kind of part of that. And but there's 3 things within customer service, okay, that's really helped me. It's not just for your clients, it's also for potential clients. So we're gonna start with marketing, okay? Okay, the 3 topics: marketing, fees, and delegation. I'll try to not make this that boring, but you have to be intentional. At least Bowie mentioned this morning, is that you have to be intentional with your parenting, just like you're intentional with your law practice. So I think a lot of y'all probably pay for SEO. You're drowning your money in there, okay? Because, I'm not saying SEO is bad. I think it's good. But you need to do something else, okay, in addition to that. You need to keep them, you need to retain their attention, okay? So a lot of us here in the guild, at least, have a YouTube channel, have some kind of social media channel, okay? And that's to build the trust, sharing, getting credibility, just as if you were in court, right? Because if you're when anyone started a law practice, did anyone tell you don't pay for yellow pages? I got that a lot. That was a tip 10 years ago, okay? And I learned from that. I didn't do yellow pages, but I paid for Al Dia. It's the Spanish subsidiary of Dallas Morning News. I drowned in money from that. Got a lot of calls. It was great. But for some reason, people kept price shopping. I was like, I thought it was just normal because I practiced mostly immigration. I thought that's normal. That's just what immigrants, foreign nationals do. But after I created the YouTube channel about a couple years ago, and now TikTok about a couple months ago, you're building credibility. Now, I just hired an associate 3 months ago, and she's like, man, people really want to talk to you. I'm like, yeah, that's because all these channels, like TV, really. So you're attracting them. A lot of us are already doing that. But there's a step 2, okay? Other than building the trust. But step 2 is retaining their attention, not just on the channels, giving them a document. You ever go to an event and, an event and they give you a brochure, some information. Hey, just take it home. This is what we do in our law practice. So kind of give you an idea of when someone calls in for the first time in our law firm, we find out, my VAs find out what kind of case type it is. Maybe it's like the company wants to sponsor an employee, or it's the employee calling. Whatever it is, we have a guide. Some people call it like an ebook, okay? It's really like 10 pages of a PDF, okay? Has anyone had a week or a month, you're like, man, I'm getting a lot of questions, of similar questions. I'm sure you had that moment. Maybe, Dustin, you had a week where it was like spring break or something, and people are just drinking and driving all week, all times a day. And you get the similar questions. Oh, can I get my driver license? And can I drive after getting a DWI charge or something like that? And you're like, yeah, you might have it on your website, but are they going to visit your website again? So this is what we've been doing. We created a lot of different PDFs, a free guide for each case type, okay? And we email it to them. We use DocSend. You can upload the document to DocSend, DocSend.com. It's a subsidiary of Dropbox. And it's kind of freaky. You can track when they see it, when they open it, because they have to enter their email in it to look at it. And so this guide contains FAQs, common questions. All right? So we send that to them, and then we haven't even really gone deep into it. But what you can do next, what we plan to do is, okay, when we follow up on the sales process, we'll check, okay, it's been a week, okay, have they looked at it? Because then we can tailor our conversation with them. Oh, you haven't looked at it, we emailed it to you, or you have looked at it, have any questions about it, okay? And on one of the last pages on the ebook or the guide is our core values, mission statement, vision statement, how to refer cases to us, how to refer people to us. I know it may sound strange, like to include that kind of question, but when we actually receive emails or calls from people, I loved your work. Can we refer a case to you? Of course. Sounds like a silly question, but if you have all this information in the guide, they can always revisit. Maybe they search an email, John Ting, or your law firm name, and maybe they'll come across it again. Okay, so I mentioned this because one of our VAs that handle the calls, okay, the intake team, which you call the cares team, everything I'm sharing with you, please steal it from my website, okay, and this presentation. You can go to the website, greencardguys.com. And so I've had clients or potential clients hire us 6 months to a year later because of these guides. We're constantly improving it. I just got a message from a team member yesterday. She was like, John, can we just pause on updating these guides? Because the great thing about DocSend is that when you share the link with them, which, by the way, we create a template email, so they don't have to retype, oh, here's the free guide by Ting Law Group about this case type. So we create the template emails, don't have to change the link. On DocSend, you can just re-upload the new document and retain the same link, okay? Okay, so you might be wondering, what the hell is a bassinet doing on this presentation? I have 2 kids. The first kid, we're being cheap. We didn't have this bassinet on the left, okay? And we got one of the cheaper ones. As you can see from Google, you can see like it comes from Walmart, Kohl's, because we didn't understand. When we first had the first baby, he's 3.5 now, we're like, this product on the left just came out. We didn't understand it. It did have the features, the benefits on the website, but we just didn't feel like they had 882 reviews or even 73 reviews about it yet. It just literally came out that year. And then the second kid came around 2 years later. It was 11 months old now. And we're like, you know what? Tao, can we take a look at this thing again? Has anyone heard of the SNU? Okay, we got a couple hands raised. Come on, dads, you gotta know about the SNU. It's gonna save your life, okay? Save some headache. The main benefit I can share with you is it allows the kid to sleep. Allowing the kid to sleep allows you to sleep, okay? It doesn't work for everyone, but most babies it does, newborns. I think it's only good for like 5 months or 6 months. This is why I'm sharing this with you. Because have you ever had a potential client call, you have a consultation with them, and they're like, yeah, I hear the legal strategy, I hear it, that's great and everything, but what are you actually gonna do for me? How do we get there? And you're like, well, we update you, or you might be stumped, like what to say, right? So immigration world might be different from your practice area, but I still think, you should share these benefits, okay? So it's all on my website. This is an example of the SNU, the benefits of the SNU. So I mentioned the first thing was like social media channels, building credibility, okay? So for us, that's Google reviews, for example, or Avo, whatever you use. I recommend Google. And then, so you have the credibility and the reviews, okay? Those go together. And then, so for us, I have 5 benefits on my page, which really it can be applicable to any law practice. Transparency, access to attorney. Has anyone had clients, paid clients? Raise your hand if this happened to you. They call in and you're like, your assistant, whoever answers says, Attorney so-and-so is not available. I'm very sorry. He's at court or she's at court or in a client meeting. And then your assistant writes it down on traditional yellow pad, and then you forget about it. Or he or she forgot to send it to you. I'm sure several of you, right? So you need to do this. Here's another secret. Calendly.com or something similar. Tom, you know what I'm talking about. So, but not just Calendly. You need to create a box just for current clients, okay? I'm not saying have it 24/7. Don't promote that, by the way. You are readily available, but not 24/7. For us, we have it Tuesdays and Thursdays. I say this, I have my associate say it now, in every consultation. We have access to us. We're different than most law firms, but it's not 24/7, okay? If you have a question as a Friday and you missed that Thursday box, then email us. We'll get back to you. That's one of our benefits. I think any law firm can use that as a benefit. So I talked about transparency. I say transparency because at least in the immigration world, a lot of people who come to us as a second or third attorney, sad as it may be, they're like, I can't get my documents from the previous lawyer or my current lawyer. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I got to have them sign a consent form and all that. It just takes time. So we say transparency not just with fees, but also with documents on day one, okay, on onboarding. So we share a Dropbox folder as an example. Let's see what else we have. So how much do you think, I don't know if I can go back one maybe. Well, probably the two ladies in the back, I don't want to assume your moms, but do you know how much the SNU is? Yeah, $1,500. Yeah, we definitely paid for it for the second kid. I have not regretted it one bit. It was amazing. It rocks slowly, by the way. It helps the babies think that they're in the womb. But anyway, so here's the thing that leads up to the topic about fees. Okay, I don't know if that's really the Peloton, I forgot, but I'm a paying member of Peloton. For the last 2 or 3 years, I was so going every day for the first year and a half, and then, Texas, the grid didn't work out for about a couple days, and I just fell off the bandwagon on that. But I'm still a paying member. Can you believe that crap? It's ridiculous. Costco, I don't know about you. I'm in the burbs. I'm in Sugar Land, a suburb of Houston. There's a Costco like a few minutes down the road. I probably could get something from Kroger, another grocery store, but screw it, we're going to Costco because we just need to buy in bulk every week for some odd reason. And what do you think they have in common? Anyone want to blurt it out? Exactly. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. Okay, you may have heard that more for like business attorneys. I've seen that when the pandemic started, flat fees. I know that might be, I don't know how you can do that for PI, but or other type of hybrid. But the reason I don't really call them clients, when we have the consultations, I call them members. I call my quotes membership plans. Okay. So here's an example, just truncated version. Okay, niches and riches. I think most people talk about that about practice area, but I also talk about for relation to membership plans. In the immigration world, especially if you heard of like USCIS, green card interviews, some people don't want a lawyer at the interview because it costs more. It takes more of your time as an attorney, right? And then, so we have the Light, Pro, and Max. And so the Light plan is more for like the DIY. They don't care about like after you file the case. I have some clients that are just great. They don't want to talk to me at all after we file it until the interview time comes. And then Pro, okay, you have like, we have preparation videos, and then sometimes people watch the videos and they don't even schedule a call with me, but we have it available. And the Max, for example, is the interview representation. So you price it to where the Pro and Max are really close together, okay? So if they pick a Pro or if they pick the Max, you're okay. It's still within your budget, okay, in terms of expected revenue. Something like something we call like family preference case, where the wait time to help a family member get a green card maybe 10 years, we encourage them to pick the light plan. And all we have to do is file the first application. I don't want to be stuck with the case for 10 years. So something that I think Bill talked about earlier is the duration of the case life cycle. That's what we think about as well in each of these plans when we recommend something. Because some people, potential clients, still ask us, which one do you recommend? So we're have another sales opportunity there. Okay, let's see here. But I do also recommend, in terms of niches and the riches, for us in immigration in our law firm, we really try to focus on like top five ideal case types. And we even created like an avatar of a client. I think I heard this on one of the weekend calls with Tyson and Jim. So by the way, if you're not in the guild, you might want to consider it because there's little nuggets here and there that provide a lot of value. Okay. In terms of delegation, how many of y'all have VAs? How many of y'all are doing everything, answering phones, everything like that? Okay, more power to you. I'm impressed. You may have heard of a lot of people talk about the 80% rule. I finally hired my first associate 3 months ago, thanks to the guild in the hot seat. I had, I think, in August last year, and I had a plan. Okay, like I need to hire an associate, at least put up the job posting in January. And members of the guild were very helpful to keep me accountable. And I knew ahead of time, it's not going to be perfect. I just got to make progress, like Tyson says all the time. Have you made progress on it? Okay, on your objective or your goal. That being said, 80% is for everything. It's not just like the legal work product. It's also emails. If you haven't listened to the Maximum Lawyer podcast that I was just had the honor of being on a couple weeks ago, I have a lot of nuggets there to talk about different tips on delegation as well. But one of them is having a shared email inbox. So during this conference even, or on my flight, maybe I didn't have time to like draft the email, but I always ask team members, you need to draft the email first, and if you need me to, I will look at it, and so I can edit it if necessary. Because I've just heard horror stories where people do email out something it's like, oh, that's not the legal strategy, okay? Or even if it's nothing to do about legal strategy, but the client just would not have appreciated that type of language. So that's something else about VAs. If there's something, especially if it's a VA or remote worker from outside America, there's some maybe slight cultural differences in language you might need to train them on, okay? Something to consider. So any questions? Yes. So I've tweaked it around. My membership plans have evolved. Before I had it more like what you're saying, paying every month. I think that's what you're alluding to, paying every month up until the case is over. I played around with that with people who really needed a payment plan and even maybe needed a lower payment plan, like amount. But now I just, in terms of this membership plan, I have it phrased where it's listed services, because people always asked us, what do you actually do? And I tell immigration lawyers in all these Facebook groups, friends, we do a shit ton, okay? People don't know it. It's mostly customer service. We're a call center. Think of it as like a lot of PI lawyers here, like this is like a call center, right? Like a claim center, an insurance agency. Some people, and that's why the guides are helpful, because some people have very common questions your assistants get all the time. So just put it in that guide, and like I just responded to email. I said, client, you missed a deadline. For reference, for the next time we file this, need to look at the guide, need to look at the timeline, step by step, so you know when to take action. Hopefully that answers the question. So how I do it, at least for immigration, $1,500 deposit, $500 a month, and then whenever the balance is zero, they're done paying. But membership plan is really to list the services. Yeah. And even some plans I list out client support by a legal team and support team. But the light plan, like you saw, only to file, we leave that unchecked. Any other questions? I could blabber all day, so yes, sir.
Yes, the talk was titled Breaking Limited Mindset. Did you find that you had a mindset change at some point from one to the other? What was it?
Yes, because sorry, I didn't really mention it, but yeah, look, for example, the like TikTok, social media, I think people just put content out there and they think it's gonna, like when people have consultation, they're just gonna sign up. They have a legal problem, okay, they called me, they're gonna sign up. No, I mean, at least in immigration, sometimes it's not immediate. Detained cases, sure. But yeah, most people, maybe PI is different. What practice area do you have? Do you practice? Okay, so that should be, I don't know, I've never taken a criminal case, so I don't know, but do you find that people are more on it to hire?
Yeah, usually when they call us, they're in it. So it's not like, hey, I'll maybe give you a call back in 6 months. So
Right, that's good. That's good. So it might not be necessary for everyone, but I think the guides are helpful, like, yeah, because maybe they don't hire for the first, I'm just thinking about it, for criminal defense, maybe it's like a low-level offense, but if you represent like an immigrant and they don't understand you might know this already, I think, but if an immigrant takes a plea bargain, right, it can affect them for immigration. But we're all busy. Sometimes we might miss it in our checklist to discuss with them, or they might not remember. They might not. Most of the time, when I get calls complaining about other lawyers, they're like, "Oh, so and so didn't tell me." I'm like, "I know this lawyer. I'm pretty sure they would have told you." So these guides help with that too. Even though we always have a disclaimer, this is not legal advice, just like website or whatever. So that was a mindset block for me, okay? Because we got a lot of calls, just like I'm mentioning about when I had advertisement on the Spanish newspaper. That was difficult because I just was price shopping. But so even though I know some lawyers are hesitant on having like video calls for consultations, and I love it. And I started that really in 2018 because I had the baby and we're co-parenting. So think about that. Any other questions? Yes, Eric. Yes, I mentioned that in the podcast, Max Law podcast. Try to always mention follow, subscribe and share, and then share your experience, and then put your phone number at the end. Okay, if you have a tagline or something, add that every time. I do that in the beginning at least. Okay, and maybe even and always do the captions if possible, at least on TikTok. Because some people watch it at night or in the morning and don't want to wake up anyone else. Okay? Yeah. All right. Well, contact me if you have any questions. Crush it. You can find me there. All right. Thank you.